Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. Let's talk about risk that you can take when you are investing in real estate. For those of you who want a better definition, we're going to be discussing what are all the things that could go wrong, the possibility of loss, of losing value, pitfalls, threats in this real estate venture. And yes, you should have an idea of what risks are involved before you choose any strategy, because just about every strategy is risk. Even sitting on the fence not doing anything, there's a risk. Okay, so let's really dive into this. Some of the risk or the underlying characteristic that affects the return on your asset, the return on your property, may be the niche or the strategy itself that you're using. Okay, so that's number one. The strategy or the niche may not work in the market that you have chosen, or the time that you have chosen to do what it is that you wish to do to that property may not work. It may work. It's just that you got to look at what are the risks. Then within yourself, you may have some limiting beliefs that are holding you back. A lot of times, those beliefs are not even based on facts pertaining to the deal for you. They may be things, prejudices that have been implanted into you from other people. All right? So that's why sometimes it's not always best to consult a friend, if you will. Sometimes it's best to go to somebody that doesn't look like you, that comes from a different background than yourself, and have them weigh in on what you are about to do or what you are thinking about doing. Of course, don't give them too much information because they might actually steal your deal. Like, you don't need to give them the address. You can give them the city and the state, and then that's it. All right. Next thing that you have to keep in mind is you have to look at the big picture and not just the money. This is something that I'm seeing with a lot of people. A lot of people are like, oh, I can make $100,000. Oh, I can make $1 million. Oh, I'm doing it. But then they don't realize, or they don't take into account all of the things that are needed to be done before you get to that $1 million. All the things that need to be examined, right? Like, okay, you have a house. You got to know what's behind the walls. Because sometimes what's behind the walls, the wiring, is not done right. There have been times when a house will just go up in flames, not because somebody misused the stove in the kitchen or the grill in the backyard, but because the electrician didn't wire the property properly, if you will. Next, if you're doing a rehab, what if the contractor deserts you? They leave you in the middle after you've paid them. That's why those contracts are so important. What if the Airbnb or SRO laws in your county, city, state change? It happens. in the middle of your gut rehab, or just in the middle of your business, what are you going to do? What if the code enforcement laws change while you're making a repair on the property and you need that extra amount of money? It's going to end up costing you more than you thought because of that law. If you have property located in certain places that are prone to hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquake, what if one comes? What are you going to do? What if you see a home and you don't get the loan? What are you going to do? Especially if you don't have the contingency in the offering agreement that says that this is contingent upon appraisal, for example, or securing a loan, right? That's why contingencies are important. What if you have a rental, the tenant loses their job and they don't pay? What are you going to do? Are you going to tell them about grants? Are you going to evict them? What are you going to do? That's a risk that you have to factor in. What if your property is destroyed by fire? The natural fire, that like what they have in California, or flood because the levees break? What are you going to do? What are you going to do if someone comes on your property and they have an accident? They fall down. A lot of times people will sue for that. Some people don't know, but some people do know and will sue you for that. What do you do if you have a rental property in a city and or in a small city rather, and one of the big companies leave that market? What are you going to do? So guys, these are some of the questions that I want you to ask yourself before you get into the property. And let's say you're already in the property and those things have not happened to you. They may happen to you in the future. So you have to think, how are you going to pivot if any of those things that I've mentioned occur? These are risk factors these are risks that some of them have already happened to me. So that's one of the reasons why I'm mentioning it to you. So guys, these are things I want you to chew on. I want you to think about. If you have a strong contract, and not, when I say contracts, there's an S at the end of that. All right. Every single contract has to be strong. You got to know your exit strategies. You have to have a network of different people. Everybody shouldn't look like you. Everybody shouldn't come from the same place you come from. Your background, your network should be diverse. Okay? And these are the things that you need in order to minimize risk. But risk is something that you should always take into consideration before, during, and after an investment. So guys, that's all I have for you. Please feel free to share this amongst your friends, because each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.